We reached the end of another month, and it's finally time to go over all the books I read in the month of February. So yeah, guys, this month I read quite a bit. I'm actually very proud of myself because I read more than I was expecting to read because I haven't been reading as much as usual. But I read 9 books in total, and I'm so happy for that. But also specifically about the fact that I branched out quite a bit this month, and I hope to keep doing that throughout the year and just keep experiencing different things, just kind of moving away a little bit from romantasy and YA. Even though I am still going to be reading them, I want to branch out a bit more because I am very much a eclectic reader. I read a little bit of everything. Romance is probably the only genre that I don't really dive into too much. But within fiction, I tend to go into almost every single thing, and I'm a very varied reader. But I've been just in this like romantasy kick lately, and I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I love it, but I am honestly tired. I need variety in my life. I need a little bit I need different things, and so I'm really happy that I've been able to branch out, and I want to keep it going throughout the year. So before we get into all of the books I read, okay, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, okay, and check out my socials as well, TikTok especially, but check out my socials. So yeah, let's get into the video. So starting off strong, we have Cold Wire. This is such a good book. Okay, I gave this motherfucker 5 stars. I loved it so much, so much. This is a dystopian YA sci-fi. Okay, it's a lot, and it's worth all those 3 categories, okay? It is worth it. The sci-fi aspect of this book is amazing. The dystopian aspect of it also very interesting. The characters do not read YA at all. I don't think this is an adult YA, okay? But this is not a super simplified, easy YA either. It's a perfect YA for you to read even if you're closer to your 30s than you are to your 18s, to your 20s. We follow 2 different main characters, basically, and they are in different levels of this world. So you have the regular world like we do, and you have the virtual world that is a copy of the regular world, but it's a lot more evolved and advanced, and it's where most people spend their time, okay? That is where they spend the big bucks, and the real world is more to keep the upper world functioning, right? So we follow these 2 girls, one in each of the worlds. One is on a mission by her school, her academy, to find out where this project is, to locate this one person responsible for this project. She's going at it with one of her classmates, technically her rival. Other girl, she's a soldier, and she's after this rogue dude. And while going after this rogue dude, he actually kidnaps her. Una reversed this whole thing, and he's using her to get to this specific, these 3 different caches where he's gonna get this program that everyone is seeking it, and she's trying to find a way to betray him and to capture him whilst pretending to still be a willing captive. I love these characters so much. I really connected to both of them. I really enjoyed both perspectives. I also enjoyed seeing the parallels between the worlds and between the storylines. I also really liked the logic between the politics and the society and how the society works when it's set up the way it is set up in this book. And just the relationships between the characters, all of it. Honestly, I enjoyed this book so much. I've been really getting into sci-fi lately. I've always liked sci-fi, but I never really got truly into it like other genres. And this one was just such a hit, honestly. I have been getting rid of my Fairy Loot books lately. You will receive an update soon in one of my future videos. But I've been getting rid of them, at least the ones I have here in Poland with me. Unless I really love the book or the art is absolutely I cannot pass this by, right? Didn't even consider getting rid of this one because I just loved it so much. At least for now, I'm gonna keep it because the story is just amazing. I love this so much. Next, I read The 7 Deadly Thorns. Now, this was also a Fairy Loot book. It's a YA Fairy Loot book as well. It's supposed to be enemies to lovers, and it kind of reminded me of a Hermione fanfic where you have Hogwarts, but Hogwarts is isolated from all the rest of the world. And if Draco was an assassin prince and Hermione was a shadow wielder, and then that's as far as the parallels go, to be honest. But also, it's also a little bit Snow White inspired almost as well, because you have the apples, you have the assassin that needs to deliver the heart to the evil queen, and the evil queen has a magical mirror. So it's kind of a mix of a lot of things, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I gave it 3 stars. It's not a negative review because I still was curious about the characters. I still sort of kind of slightly enjoyed it, but I can't tell you that it's a really, really good book because it's not, okay? I saw a lot of like plot holes, a lot of things didn't make sense to me. It's just in general, there was a lot that was just not clicking. There was also a lot of like running around like a headless chicken. There's also one trope that's like the marriage of convenience trope, and I to this day cannot tell you why that would even be a logical next step other than he was in love with her and so he trapped her. But like, it just, nothing else makes a lot of sense. It's definitely not a book I would advise. I know it's not one that I would tell you not to read, but it's also not one I would recommend you reading, right? Like, if there's a lot of other books that are better. The special edition is gorgeous, okay? It's beautiful, but yeah, it just wasn't for me. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say on that one, okay? That's it. Okay, so bear with me, because after that, I went into a series I thought I was absolutely going to love and fall in love with, which is Empire of the Vampire. I read book 1 and 2, and I DNF'd the series after that. And I know there's only one book left, but when I tell you I had to force myself to finish the second book, I really did. Like, I think like from the start, I didn't really enjoy the book. In this book, we follow the story of a vampire hunter that is also half vampire, okay? And we follow him in 3 different timelines. In the past, when he was young and recruited to be a saint soldier hunter to the vampires, for the humans hunting the vampires. Then we have the timeline where after like years and years and years after, he had already had a family, he had quit the whole thing, had come back, like, and it's the more like closer to present timeline. And then we have present time, okay, where he is imprisoned and he's telling his story to his captor because that's what they ask of him, and he's just telling his story to extreme detail, okay? The first problem I had with the story is the way it's being told. Like, the fact that he's telling his story to someone else, I do like that concept. I don't like the way it's being done. It might be a writing thing. I don't think I like the style that much. And this is not my first book from Jay Kristoff, but the other books I read of him, it was co-authored by him. It wasn't fully him. So, or maybe like he just changed up the style to match the vibe of this book, and I didn't like the style of it. It was very much a man, you know? And I don't know why I didn't connect with it. Also, like, there was a lot of like really weird creative insults that no one would think of, and it's supposed to be funny, and there's moments that are for comedic relief but that don't quite hit the mark, at least not for me personally. I couldn't give less of a shit about the main character for a majority of the first book, okay? I started to connect with him later on. I connected to other characters. I was more interested in other characters than him, and it's just, yeah, it just didn't click for me. It just didn't, honestly. I do find that it's an interesting way to tell the story, especially because in the second book we get a different point of view from another character also telling the story. And I am kind of curious to know what happens in the end, but it wasn't curious enough to survive 700 plus pages of a book that was boring the living crap out of me. So for the first book, Empire of the Vampire, I rated it 3.5 stars. For the second book, Empire of the Damned, I rated it 3 stars, okay? Because by the end, I just couldn't give a shit. I was tired, I was exhausted, like, just move along. I don't, like, come on, like, just move. Even though I did like the romance that was happening in that book a bit, I saw it coming, but I liked it. And I did find, like, the discoveries that one of the characters was doing were very interesting, but the way it prolonged itself so much was just driving me insane. So right after that, I went back into my Fairy Loot books and I read The Thorn Season. I don't have that physical copy here with me. In Poland, it's back in Portugal. All of the Fairy Loot books I'm mentioning right now are going to be condensed into one vlog. I'm hoping it's just one singular vlog that I won't have to do 2, where I went and read all of my YA Fairy Loot books to see if the box was worth keeping or not. Okay, so if you want to check that out, that's going to be posted on the channel soon enough. Fingers crossed. So Thorn Season is also like a YA. I would say it's a bit of a romancy as well. Okay, it follows this. It's in this world where people with magical powers are prosecuted and killed. Okay, or taken prisoner. There's this one girl. She's a daughter of a count. I think it's a count, and she has powers, and he has helped her hide those powers all her life. And there's also part of their family. Okay, like, their family are the ones that hunt these magical beings. So she's been hiding all her life. They've been very careful, everything, but she's coming of age, and it is coming to a point where she's going to have her season in court, and she needs to go and live in court for a few months because the king is going to choose a bride, and also because she has to be involved in court life. That's just a tradition there. And so she's going into court life. But then also, at the same time, there's a lot of things happening around people that have magical abilities. Suddenly, all of a sudden, they were being hunted like crazy. A lot of them were disappearing. A lot of them were being attacked and murdered. It was a bloodbath, okay? And she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on and how can she help, okay? There's also other factors in between, but she basically goes into court and has to maneuver the king and all the courtesans whilst also trying to figure out who is sanctioning all of the deaths and how are they figuring out that these people have magic. It's advertised as having like a love triangle, but I don't agree, okay? There is one male interest and then there's one motherfucker that's trying to get into her pants. That's it. That's it. That's basically it, okay? I gave it 4 stars, okay? I know maybe my description wasn't very like on point, okay, motivating, but it's actually a pretty good one. I think it's a pretty good YA. Again, it does not read as a like simplistic YA, but also not a super complex whoa thing, right? It's a good intermediate YA. I like the mystery and the plot twists. There were a lot of things that I did see coming, yes, but I'm telling you the plot twist of who is behind the things, I did not see that coming at all. Like, that was the last thing on my mind, okay? I also really like the relationships between the characters and the like all of the intrigue in between them. I got really captivated by the book. I really started reading. I started reading and I couldn't stop myself. I had so much fun reading this, so I gave it 4 stars. So after that, I listened to the Dance of Thieves duology. These books have been in my TBR for so long, and they're part of the 26 series I want to read this year, and I was very excited to read this, but at the same time, I think it's been in my TBR for so long that I just didn't expect it to be that good, because I have been disappointed by books that have been in my TBR for a very long time, and I was so pleasantly surprised with how hooked I was with these two. I could not put these books down. Like, it was so painful for me to stop listening to them. I love them so much. I just got so sucked into it. I don't even know how to explain, but I just did. Basically, in this book, we follow 2 characters, our FMC and our MMC. Our FMC is this badass, I don't know, soldier of this elite militia for the queen, okay? And the queen is a very benevolent queen. She's not this wicked queen or anything like that. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop, but nothing did. And she is on a mission to figure out who is attacking these villages, who is like burning these places, and they think it's this one family, okay? So she goes into that place, and it's technically another kingdom, okay? It's part of a different kingdom, but at the same time, they consider themselves the only kingdom, but no one officially recognizes them as that, but they are technically the first kingdom to ever exist. And she walks into that town where she cross paths with our MMC, and she doesn't realize this is the dude she needs to investigate. She doesn't realize that at all, because his father had just died, so he was now the new patriarch of the family, of the town, of like he was the king, okay, of this new thing. And she picks a fight with him, and then these 2 motherfuckers get kidnapped, okay, and stranded together, and they have to survive the wilds together and walk back to his little town so they can meet up with her colleagues, but also with his family. And then it's kind of like a relationship of convenience, like an engagement of convenience almost, so they can like disguise the fact that he was missing for weeks. And it's all of these politics, all of these intrigues, and also a lot of lies, because she is keeping so many lies from him. He's also lying a lot to her, but it's so interesting to see their dynamic. And this is not a slow burn, okay? This is not something that is like gonna take a while. It's not enemies to lovers at all. Like, it's just a simple romance story, and I really do classify this as romance, okay? It's a simple romance story of 2 people that initially butt heads, and they start falling in love with each other throughout their journey, and then they get back to real life and they realize, okay, this is not going to be simple, this cannot happen, and they start battling their feelings for each other. But then you have all of the political intrigue in the middle. You have all of these people doing shitty things in the background, and she has to investigate what's going on, and he's trying to do a different angle, and all of it becomes so intrinsic into the story, and it's just so well done. I loved it so much, okay? Like, genuinely, I am surprised with how much I loved the story. So I gave both of these books 4.5. I took out half a star because I will say that a lot of the plot points were predictable. Okay, a lot of them were predictable. I saw things coming from a mile away. There was only one thing I didn't see coming. okay? Just one. But everything else I saw coming a mile away. I kind of knew where the story was going the entire time, but I still enjoyed it very, very much, okay? I don't think because it was predictable that it lost its quality. I just got really into it. It might just have been a feeling, okay? I'm not saying this is the biggest... you might not feel the same way, okay? But my feeling while reading this got me really, really hooked. And that I value as a 4.5, okay? Especially because when I reached the end of the book, I barely had any pointers to give. The only thing was the predictability of it. But even like the miscommunication thing that I absolutely hate was so well done in this that, you know, because it wasn't truly miscommunication, it was just lying, full-on lying to each other because they had to protect their own sides and they were on opposite sides even if they were cooperating, that, you know, it just, all of it kind of worked out really well, and I was hooked, which is a shame because then I went into The Swan's Daughter and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't so much so I'm actually, this is like my last day with it. I have found someone to take it from my hands. I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't. I read it, but it was hard. Imagine Swan Lake, you know? Like Barbie Swan Lake or something like that, right? You have these swans that turn into humans, and one of them gets tricked into marrying this wizard, and he imprisons her for the rest of her life. And they have babies, and then they have 8 babies, seven or 8 babies, baby girls, and all of them except one that's kind of like the ugly duckling, sort of speaking. She's not ugly, but you know, and they were born with their powers controlled by their father, except our main character, she's the only one that is not controlled by her father. She's also the only one that cannot sing beautifully. She sings like crap, okay? It's bad, okay? And she basically is trying to escape her father because her father got into his head that he will kill her, sacrifice her to achieve eternal life, basically. And to escape him, she goes into these trials to get the hand in marriage of the neighboring prince of the neighboring country that also has his own curse in his land and on his like dynasty. And so she ends up into a pact with him to help him figure out who is the best option as a wife for him, because all his wives or potential wives try to kill him. The thing with this book is that it is very fantastical, like really storybook fantastical, okay? Everything is animated, everything has life, all the trees, plants, the earth, the houses, everything has life in it. Like even the princes that die right after the wedding, right? They still give birth to heirs through their trees because they become trees and the trees give heirs. It's like, I don't know. It was very confusing. The way the text is written is very also fantastical, very like children's storybook fantastical. And I do think it's a stylistic choice and it is a beautiful choice, but it's not a choice that is for me, okay? Again, I'm not saying that the book's bad. The story is interesting. It's a cutesy love story. I will say it's definitely on the younger YA. Okay, I think a young YA person will like this. I personally didn't enjoy it. But again, it was mainly because of the way it was written, of the way the world is done. It's just so much magical storybook shit. I got tired of it, you know? Yeah, I give this 3.5 stars because in the end the story was interesting and it was a cute little lovey-dovey story, and that's it. That's all I have to say. And lastly, I ended up the month with another series that I've been wanting to read for so incredibly long, okay? And it is Red Rising. I read the first book of Red Rising this month, and I haven't started the second one yet. I'm going to start it today, but I read the first book of Red Rising, and I have so many thoughts, bitches, so many thoughts. I'm vlogging it for you, so keep an eye out for that if you want more information. But for now, what I will say is that it wasn't what I expected. So basically follow our main character, Darrow. He is a miner in the depths of the planet Mars, where they are mining to get this specific chemical thing. It's helium-3, I think. And they live in colonies underground. They are considered the Reds. Like society is basically divided into colors, and colors define the type of role you have in this society, and Reds are bottom of the barrel, okay? Especially the Reds that are underground. Those are even worse, okay? And they think they're basically helping colonize, they're helping prepare Mars to be colonized, but that has happened like 200 or 300 years ago, okay? It's already done. It's done, it's said and done, and he doesn't know. And certain events that happen in the first part of the book lead him to fight against the structure that is of the society. And for this, he has to infiltrate the Academy of the Golds, which are like the top tier dudes. They're the bosses. They're the ones that rule. So he's going to infiltrate that academy as a gold, try to get as high of a position as possible so that he can dismantle the whole thing from within. Now, I thought that we were going to see his first year in this school degree thing, or at least like a few challenges. But this is one test that prolongs itself throughout months. And even though it's very interesting in so many different aspects, okay, it wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be more diverse, okay? I will say also Darrow as a character is very weird to me, because you read him initially and he reads as a 16/17-year-old kid, which is what he is. On the next stage of the process, you read him as a 30-something-year-old. He goes through all these fights. He goes through like this test, and the first part of this test, and he reads as like a 30-year-old. And then this one thing happens where he almost dies, and he cries like a baby for his mommy. And he goes back to being a teenager that needs to learn basic things that he already knew. I don't know if we can justify it through trauma or whatever, but like that just, what? And then he goes back to reading like a 30-year-old. It's really weird to me how he reads. I don't know if maybe it was just in the first book. I need to see how it goes throughout the series. But it's one of the things that like I'm still kind of reeling about in this book. I don't know. I think I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. And even though there was a lot happening in the story in that setting, I didn't realize it was all going to be in that one test, in that one place, in that one, battle royale. And that's on me, but I'm reading it based on how I felt, okay? And yeah, that was my reading month. I do hope I can start picking up pace, because I do want to read a bit more than just 9 books a month, but it's been quite a challenge because I'm working full-time and I get really tired. Like my eyes get really tired at the end of the day. There's some weeks where I have really bad migraines and I cannot read. So that's why also I've been going a bit into audiobooks to help complement it, because genuinely sometimes I cannot bear to be in front of a computer more than what I already have to be because of my job. So that's also why. But yeah, those are all the books I read. Let me know if you know of any of these books, if any of them intrigued you, and if you have any really cool recommendations, especially sci-fi, let me know in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next week, and I think it's gonna be a vlog. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm putting out a vlog next week. And that's it. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.